Chris Rogers here with WRLWND.com, and welcome to The Focus. We're here today with Michael Sharun, Managing Director of EMC Canada. Michael, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. So the first question we're going to talk about today is, how does your company's technology affect users and the way they work? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So, EMC is totally dedicated to information. All we do is work with information. We provide the means of storing it, protecting it, and managing it. And as you see in the day-to-day life, information is becoming more and more of our fabric. We're Facebooking, we're blogging, we're using Twitter. If you look at the valuations of those companies, out of the gate, they're in the billions of dollars. So society is putting more and more emphasis on information. So we're really entwined with what people are doing on a day-to-day basis. It's it's a cornerstone. It's how they communicate. So everything you do is information, and that's what we're all about. So we want to make sure that when you have those pictures of your grandkids or of your significant other or your pets or whatever, that they're always available and they're not going to be lost, because in the past people kept those in the basement. If there was a disaster, they'd be gone forever. We want to make sure that we keep the legacies for families, we keep that information, it's all in a digital format, and we can always get at it. So I think we're more and more part of everyone's day-to-day life than we have been in the past.
That's great. How do you see trends like mobility and, you mentioned a couple other ones during the presentations this morning. How do you see those trends sort of changing the way we work?
Well, it's interesting because if you look back 10, 15 years ago, things were very rigid in an organization. You had specific devices that you could use, specific applications that you could use. Today, it's almost a free-for-all, where it's not as if organizations can let these devices in. If you want good quality people in your company and you want to make sure your company is in the forefront and successful, you need to let people bring whatever they want. And you need to provide that backbone. So the mobile workforce is the norm. We are on 24/7, 7 days a week. We're always interrupt driven, and companies need to be able to provide that type of infrastructure. And that infrastructure needs to be resilient because people need it and they need it now. So it's really important in terms of mobility to make sure that the information backbone coincides with the mobility backbone.
Absolutely. It's, playing on that trend side, more and more of our lives are now online, especially for sort of the day-to-day stuff that we do. We're moving online to the cloud. What should we be really aware of as we're making that transition?
Well, moving online means that you really don't have control anymore. So you really need to you need to make sure that where your information is secure and it's not being used maliciously. So you want to make sure it's protected very well, but you also want to make sure it's available. Because if I don't have it in my pocket anymore and I have to go into the cloud to get it, it better be available when I want it. Right? It's not, most people will carry devices and they'll access whether it's emails or songs or movies or pictures. None of them are stored on the device they have. They get it from the cloud. And we've been a big developer in terms of the cloud and providing that infrastructure to make the cloud tolerant and available for everyone. So it's important.
And then building on that, we talked a little bit about some interesting technology today. What enterprise or sort of end user technology are you most excited about?
So there's a lot of it,
yeah.
Right? There are a ton of different things that are going on. And why don't I start on the enterprise side?
Sure.
So when I take a look at enterprise, IT is moving from the back room into the boardroom. And it's a very clear movement into the forefront of what businesses are doing. And enterprises here in Canada and around the world have really embraced this idea of converged infrastructure, which is more or less a data center in a box, where you've got servers, storage, networking, and management software all working together to provide a service. Now, what does that mean for IT then? Well, that means that IT now is more user accessible. In order to move, IT has to move at the speed of business. In order for IT to do that, users, end users, business users need to be able to do their own work. So IT is becoming a service from that side. So I think on the enterprise side, I think that's really exciting. The second trend is, and we talked about it earlier today, is around flash technology and our Extreme I/O launch. It's a game changer. 25 years ago, we were moving from tape to disk. We now have limitations in moving parts and in disks. We're moving to flash. It's one of the bigger trends that we've ever seen happen. On the consumer side, a little bit different, right? Where I'm still amazed as to how smart devices and smartphones are becoming more and more entwined into what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. I think that's really amazing. The second piece to that is I think we're moving into the age of the smart machines. So smart machines are now being driven by analytics. So we're a big driver of big data and having analytics. Having these machines access the data, provide us instantaneous response back as to what's going on, these machines are going to make our lives better. And I think those are the two big trends, I think, on the consumer side, where you're going to have improvement in life because of all the devices that are out there. Now, consequently, we need to be cognizant of the fact that we're going to be watched all the time. Yes. So we have to get used to that, I think, too, where that's something that some people are going to have some problems with. And then the fact that our device that we're having with us, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet or whatever, is really going to become part of our inner fabric. It contains our life, and it's going to dictate what we're doing in the future.
All right. Well, I mean, those are all they're exciting technologies, and we talk a lot about innovation and new technology on the website. I wonder if you could tell me just a little bit, as a final question, what innovations it means for you in EMC.
So it's interesting because I think innovation has really changed. And if you talk to somebody previously at EMC or other IT companies, and they talked about innovation, they would tell you that their technology X is now twice as fast as it used to be, or it provides 10 times more capacity, or this much more bandwidth, right? But today, IT now is about life. IT is not about technology. So I think innovation now is really tied to how are we improving people's lives? And I think that's the big thing as we move forward, where IT before, we only looked at the iceberg above the water, where it was all about speeds and feeds and hardware and that. Now, the 90% of the iceberg that's below the water is what's important, and that's the quality of life and the innovation, where we're using data, we're using analytics to maybe prolong someone's life, making sure that they get the right treatment, making sure that there's the right type of traffic patterns so you get home easy. All of those things that improve life, that's what innovation is. And that's how EMC is tying innovation back today. It is about quality of life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
It was a great, thank you very much.